So we're back with a new video, and this time we're going to do another art advice video. So the last time we actually did one of these videos, it seems like many of you on this channel actually like this type of videos, and I enjoyed making these videos as well. So no further ado, and let's get into the video. So these days I see a lot of art advice videos, and some of them don't make so much sense to me. And for someone who has done digital art for a very long time, I have seen a lot and heard a lot about art advice, good and bad art advice on the internet. And so I wanted to make this video to talk about the art advice, the art tips that has helped me the most along my art journey, and the ones I still remember to this day. So yeah, the very first tip is that don't use pure white to color your eyes. So this was something I always did, coloring them completely white, then adding shadows after. But if you look closely at the eyes from the master artists and other illustrations, and then use the eyedropper tool, you will see that the eyes are not white. They are actually a little bit darker than white. So this tip has helped me a lot throughout the years of doing digital art, because when I knew the eyes wasn't white, I find it very easy to actually make the eyes more interesting. And I don't know the theory and the reason behind why eyes isn't white and why you shouldn't paint them white per white, and I will not get into facts that I don't know about. So yeah, don't color your eyes pure white, because it just I don't know, but it's just not that great to color them pure white or pure black. So tip number 2 is to don't copy everything you see. That doesn't mean you shouldn't study from reality. That's actually one of the best ways to learn art. What I mean when I say don't copy everything you see is when you see a picture and you just draw it like the exact same reference that it shows on the picture. So try not to rely too much on the reference. Of course, it can be fun sometimes to actually draw like the things you see and like the reference you see, because you can learn something different. But don't do that all the time, because our creativity expands the most when we draw when we design our very own illustration. So when I see a reference and I want to draw it, I don't draw the exact same character that's shown on the reference. Instead, I draw a different character but in the same pose. You see where I'm going with this? So if you sometimes find a reference you really like, don't try to draw the exact same photo like it shows on the reference. Instead, choose like another character, choose another animal, choose something different, add something in the background, make it like your own painting. And this was an art tip that helped me a lot, and not from today on I still think about this whenever I see a piece of painting I really like. I don't draw the exact same thing that I see on the reference. Instead, I draw my very own character, like this piece right now. So yeah, try to like make your own paintings but still use references. So this advice is an advice that I recently learned from doing my art journey, and that is to not use the eyedropper tool too much. The best way to learn is by like trying to get as close as the color that you see on the painting as possible. So when you look at a piece of painting, don't try to use the exact same colors that the piece of painting is using, because you don't know what the artist think when the person used that color, and you might see something else. And that's why using the exact same color as the piece of reference that you use will actually just like ruins painting a lot more. Instead of using the exact same color, try colors that the piece of painting is using, because you don't know what the artist think when the person used that color, and you might see something else. And that's why using the exact same color as the piece of reference that you use will actually just like ruins the painting a lot more. Instead of using the exact same color, try to like get as close as possible to the same color. So the thing is that many of us use the eyedropper tool to like manage or to like get the exact same color as the reference we're using. But if we use that way all the time, or use that method all the time, using the eyedropper tool all the time, whenever we try to like paint something, we don't actually get the feeling, or we don't actually get the knowledge of knowing our saturation or hero or the value, because we just use the eyedropper tool. So try to get as close as possible to the reference and the color of the reference as possible. The more you do it, the more color knowledge you will get. And this was a tip that helped me a lot throughout my art journey, and this is actually one of those tips I recently learned, and and I can already feel like my art has improved a lot more after knowing this tip. I used to use the eyedropper tool all the time, but when I discovered that we don't all see the same, we don't all feel the same, we're not the same, we don't have the same eyes, and applied that knowledge to my work and begin to like choose my own colors, I think that my work has become a lot better, because I think I know why I'm choosing this color, and instead of like relying on others' thoughts of why I'm choosing that color. So yeah, don't use the eyedropper tool too much. You can use it sometimes, but don't like get used to it unless you know why you're using that color or why the person is using that color. So tip number 4, and this was a tip that I didn't do before many years of painting, and that is to zoom out. So zooming out, it's a very important skill to master, especially when painting or when you're drawing, especially just when you're doing art. Because zooming out gives you a bigger view. It gives you a different view on the piece. Like with a camera, when you zoom in, you don't see everything, but when you zoom out, you see a lot more, like a whole picture, like standing up from the Eiffel Tower and then zooming in, everything gets blurry and you just focus on one thing. The picture gets very boring. But when zooming out, you get like everything, like you get buildings, you get the sky, you get a lot more of them different details in the picture. So sometimes you need to zoom out, like take a step back and look at your work, because sometimes the details you focus on the most aren't what the audience sees. I used to zoom in all the time, sometimes way too much actually, and when I zoomed out again, my whole piece that I've been working so much on was just ugly around the other places. Like sometimes the other place will feel empty, sometimes it will just feel messy, because I have focused too much on one specific place, one specific point of the painting, and I didn't like see the other part of the paintings before it was too late, before I was actually too much into the painting, and that has just ruined a lot of the pieces I've done. So sometimes you just have to zoom out, take a step back, zoom out, look at the piece of the painting from a bigger view. You might see some anatomy that's wrong, you might see some places you need to fix, you might like see or like know what the shadow should be. Like you get a lot more from zooming out than just focusing on one point all the time. And this is actually a method that has helped many professional artists. When painting a big canvas, they sometimes like took a step back, look at the painting and thinking before getting started again, like continue the painting. So sometimes you just have to step back. So the next tip is to don't stop playing. When you draw, you need to use references. And I say this all the time because it's true. Even mangakas, the artists who draw like insane, incredible pieces of artwork, use references. And only a few people can draw purely from imagination. But even that skill was developed by using references. References are important because they contain knowledge you might have not known before you tried. So using references is very important. And it also gives you an advantage and boost to like not spending that long time on the piece of painting that you're working on, because when you have the reference, you already have like the pose, you already have the like the view, the perspective, and everything in place. You just have to know how it works. So using references is very important, and I say this all the time because it was something that I never did when I was a kid, when I was younger. I thought I could draw everything just from imaginations, and I drew everything from imagination, never used references, and it just looked wrong. It just looked very wrong. So using references is very important, and yeah, don't stop using references because you'll learn a lot from it, and one day you'll be able to draw just from imagination. It just takes time. So the very next tip is a tip that I didn't know was actually a thing, and that is to finish your piece. So I have a bunch of pieces I never actually finished, but that changed when I heard this tip. Finish your work. Completing your pieces gives you more knowledge than just leaving them unfinished. It allows you also to overcome the fear of failure and to learn through the entire creative process. It also gives you more confidence when starting your next piece. So this was a piece of advice I wish I have known before getting too late, because I have like 100 of pieces I haven't finished and a lot of pieces that finish with, and by completing every single piece I did from now on, it has just managed to make my work a lot better, because I pick out one thing that I like from every painting that I do and that I add it to the next one, and the more I do it, the more I learn. So finishing up your pieces is just a great advice to know or to hold on, because you learn something from every piece that you do, and the more pieces you finish, just the more knowledge you get. So tip number 7 is one of the most important lessons to learn from this video, and that is post even your ugliest work, or at least say, because sometimes we don't feel like we're improving, and that's why keeping your older pieces is so important. It's a great way to motivate yourself, because when you compare your older work to your newer pieces, you can clearly see the improvement, and that just makes us want to draw more. And if you ever feel like you're not improving, try to look back at your first piece you ever done, and like compare that piece with the recent piece that you did, and you will see a lot of improvement you have done over the past few years. And yeah, so save your pieces and like save your process, post your pieces even if you don't think it, because we as an artist, we want to see like the evolve of other people's work, and we like to see how people started and where they are now. This is just something that everyone wants to like know. It's just so interesting to actually experience this kind of like story, this story of how you got from this to this. So yeah, save your older pieces even though it's ugly, or post it if you want, because when you look back at it, you will see the amount of difference, the amount of progress you have done over the past few years. So yeah, so this basically covers up of this video, and I hope you like this video as well. So yeah, see you in the next.